Hi all, this lecture onwards we will be discussing about natural language processing. The first lecture is an introduction to natural language processing or NLP. This is the best time to learn about natural language processing. Why? Because the growth of internet and social media has led to the development of or great amount of or large amount of real data compared to the data which was available 15-20 years back, where we were having only synthetic data for for doing experiments on natural language processing. But here nowadays we have the real data, the data that is created by the humans, which is available in the form of in many forms. So, this is the outline of the lecture. What is natural language processing? We will be discussing about some of the sample NLP applications to in order to motivate you about natural language processing. We will be discussing initially. We'll be talking about some of the sample applications. Then, what is the current state of the art of natural language processing? Which are having which of the applications are already attained some level of accuracy, and which are which of the application on which of the application the still the research is going on, etc. Then we'll see why NLP is a difficult task for a computer compared to a human being. Then, as a first step towards the implementation of NLP, we'll see regular expressions and some examples of regular expressions, etc. So, we'll start off with some of the NLP applications. The first one is IBM Watson. IBM Watson is a question answering system which was capable of answering questions posed in natural language. So you give a question in natural language, then IBM Watson will be able to answer that. It was developed as in IBM's Deep QA project by a research team led by Faruqi. So Watson was named after IBM's founder and first CEO Thomas J. Watson. So that was a question answering system in which you will ask a question in the natural language and the machine will be able to answer. Machine will explore uh, the many data, and it will find out the answer for the question. The great thing about IBM Watson was that on 16th February 2011, Watson Computer System competed on Jeopardy. Jeopardy is a question answering game, where the prize money was $1 million. The Watson competed against champions Brad Rotter and Ken Jennings and won the first prize. So that was one example, IBM Watson. It will be able to answer questions like who is the author of this particular book, who acted in this movie, the particular place is located in between which of the places, etc. What is the distance between these two places, etc. Those sort of questions can be answered by IBM Watson. A second application is information extraction. Let's say I have received a mail from my head of the department like this. There is a two line, there is a subject line, date. Then this is the mail. We have scheduled a curriculum meeting. It will be in the so and so room tomorrow from 10 to 11:30. So let's say I have received a mail and I would like to develop an application based on natural language processing to extract the information out of this. What sort of information can be extracted from this mail is I can extract like this mail is about what? This mail is about a meeting, and so I can say that it's an event, and it says there is a curriculum meeting. The event is curriculum meeting, and I can find out the date also. Date is from this term tomorrow, and the date it was sent is date it was sent on mail was sent on June 1st. So tomorrow means day June 2nd, and time, location, etc. So the I can create a simple application which reads this mail and creates a calendar entry for with the following data, so that it's an automatic some sort of an automatic information extraction tool. So this is an example of information extraction. You have some text data, and from that you are trying to extract information, useful information, and that too in a particular format. A third and well-known application on natural language processing is sentiment analysis. Let's say you are trying to buy a new phone which is available. You what you will do is you will research about the mobile phones available in the market, about its camera quality. So you will be setting some of the features of the phone or some of the features of the product which you would like to buy, and you will research on those areas on the features, and you will find out a product which gives you a maximum score on this features, right? So the same thing can be applied by using sentiment analysis sort of tool. Sentiment analysis is nothing but given a statement, you assign a sentiment score onto it. Let's say we are assigning a sentiment score of positive or negative to a statement. So let's say the camera quality of the phone is good, the camera quality is great, some statement like that. Then that will be assigned a positive sentiment score to it. The screen size is not that good, something like that. Then that sort of a sentiment as a statement can be assigned a sentiment score of negative sentiment. So let's say you have identified these many attributes to this camera, display, processor, operating system, RAM, size and weight, etc. So what you will do is you will take all the product reviews from the people who have purchased the same phone, and you will try to extract the information out of all their reviews. So if a review is something like the mobile phone is very handy, then you will assign a positive sentiment score to the size and weight. The picture taken is gloomy, taken is not that good, something like that. Then you will assign a negative sentiment score to the camera. The display quality of the display is very good, then you will assign a positive sentiment score and so on. So assign a positive and negative sentiment score to each of these attributes, and later on you can tally this and find out the total score assigned to the mobile phone or the product. So that is what you mean by a sentiment analysis. So that's another application. A final application we'll discuss is about machine translation, which is something where we are going to translate one language to another language. So this is a translation from English to Malayalam. So now is the right time to study NLP. So the translation. So this is an example taken as part of Google Translator, but machine translation is something like this. It can be fully automatic or it can be used for helping human translators. So it can be fully automatic means you will be giving the text in one language, you will be getting the text in the second language and so on. But for helping the human translator, it will give you so many options. In from that you can take or you can select one, so that it's going to select the help the human translator. So machine translation is one of the ultimate problem in natural language processing, to translate one language to another language. Now we'll see the language technology, the current state of the art in language technology. Language technology applications can be divided into three parts like this. Some of the applications are mostly solved, some of the applications are improving their results, some of the applications are still really hard. So these are some of the applications which we are going to talk about in natural language processing in the coming lectures. Some the mostly solved applications like spam detection, parts of speech or post tagging, named entity recognition, etc. are mostly solved applications. Some improving their results are sentiment analysis, mostly solved in the sense these are going to give you 90-95 percentage results in accuracy. Improving results in the sense sentiment analysis, co-reference resolution, word sense disambiguation, machine translation, information extraction, etc. And still really hard to solve are question answering system, paraphrase, summarization, and dialogue. So these are the areas still there is scope for research and development. So question answering, paraphrase, summarization, etc. So these are the mostly sold examples. Spam detection. Let's say you have obtained a mail with this subject line. Let's plan the travel. That may be a non-spam. Buy with a 90% discount. So that may be a spam. So that sort of spam detection, spam or non-spam, that detection. Parts of speech tagging is you assign parts of speech tag to each word in the sentence. That is parts of speech tagging. It gives you some 96-97 percentage accuracy in real life in many applications. Many algorithms are going to give you this. Named entity recognition for each of the uh, named entities in the sentence is identified. Something like person, organization, location, etc. can be identified with this application, named entity recognition. These are the language technology applications which are improving the results. Sentiment analysis, which we have already seen. Word sense disambiguation is the sense of a particular word in a to disambiguate. For example, mouse will be having two or more senses in that in English language. So, in order to disambiguate or for a for a human being, it's very easy to identify that I need new batteries for my mouse. Means it represents computer mouse, but for a machine, we should make it disambiguate by specifying it by some method. So that is called word sense disambiguation. Parsing is creating parse tree for a sentence. Co-reference resolution is Carter, for example, Carter told Mubarak he shouldn't run to again. So whether this he is representing Carter or Mubarak, so that is called co-reference resolution. Machine translation is translating from one language to another, and information extraction also we have seen this example to extract the useful information from a given text in the form of in a particular format. So for example, from this it if the system is able to extract information like this is for a party and this is the time and this is the date, etc. These are some of the applications which are still really hard. Question answering machines, question answering systems. For example, a question like how effective is ibuprofen in reducing fever in patients with acute febrile illness? So this sort of complicated or complex questions, the machines which are presently available may be able to answer questions like very simple questions like what is this and who is this, who is the author, who is the actor, etc. But these sort of complex questions, the machines will fail. So that's another challenging problem in natural language processing. Summarization will be a part of question answering because you will be having for a question you will be having multiple statements related with it. You should summarize it to form a single statement or two or three statements so that it's becoming an answer to the question. For example, these three statements: the Dow Jones is up, the S&P 100 has jumped, and housing prices rose. So you should be able to summarize it as the economy is good. So summarization is another challenging problem. Paraphrase is, for example, XYZ acquired ABC yesterday. ABC has been taken over by XYZ. These two statements are same. So in order to identify that these two statements are same for a machine, it's still difficult. And the ultimate problem in natural language processing is a dialogue between a human and a machine. So if a machine is able to answer your all questions, that is in the form of a dialogue between machine and a human being. So that is the ultimate problem. So that's still a very hard problem. So now let's see why ambiguity makes NLP. Why NLP is hard for a machine. For a human being, natural language processing is very simple. For a machine it is very hard. The basic reason for NLP is hard for a machine is because of ambiguity. There are different types of ambiguities, syntactic ambiguities. This is an example for syntactic ambiguities. For example, teacher strikes idle kids. This can be thought of the teachers are on strike, which idles the kids, or a teacher strikes kids who are idle. So there are two meanings to this sentence. So this can be this is called a syntactic ambiguity. Another example is violin is linked to JL crash blossoms. So choose linked as the main verb or choose blossoms as the main verb. You can take blossoms as the main verb or linked as the main verb. Both are going to give you different sentences. So that is an example of syntactic ambiguity. And because of this, for a human being, based on some situation, based on some environment, it's very uh, so that is about syntactic ambiguity. Then there is another ambiguity type is called word sense ambiguities. That is, as an example, red tape holds up new bridges. Holds up can be used to in different meanings, like it can be used as a delay or it can be used to support. So, based on the system or based on the environment, the human being will be able to identify the sense of the word. But for a machine, still it is difficult. So these are a few other examples. Hospitals are sued by 7 foot doctors. So here also 7 foot. This word will be going to give you different meanings if it is considered as a one 7 foot can be one meaning or the second meaning, something like that. So these are the different examples for word sense ambiguities, and these are examples for syntactic ambiguities. So this ambiguity is the problem that is making the machine it is difficult for understanding the natural language processing or do the natural language processing. Ambiguity is not only in this syntactic structure or this like, but it's for example in this phrase structure, Fed raises interest rates. Here, if you take raises as the main verb, then you will get this phrase structure. If you take interest as the main verb, then you will get this phrase structure. So, for a human being, it's very easy to understand that this is the correct, and for a system, you should teach it. You should make it learn that this is meaning. This the meaning of this sentence is that somebody is interested in rates. Somebody is interested in something. Here, somebody raises interest rates. So these are the examples, or these are the difficult. This is the difficulty with ambiguity for machine to understand the things in NLP. The other reasons why natural language understanding is difficult is based on because natural language may contain non-standard English. Then there can be segmentation issues. There can be idioms, neologisms, world knowledge, tricky entity names, etc. Non-standard English in the sense there can be capital letters, there can be statements like instead of just U will be written, instead of TO you will write two. So these sort of non-standard English statements to understand, to identify, it's difficult for a machine. And segmentation issues are, for example, New York, New Haven Road is the correct segmentation. But if it was segmented like York New as a single word, then this will be a issue. So this is another issue in understanding the NL natural language. And these are the different idioms. Dark house, get cold feet. It will not be representing the same meaning as it is, but it will be representing something else. And these are some of the words which is people normally use, but and this may not be available as a part of your dictionary and all. And for a human being, there is a world knowledge like this. Mary and Sue are sisters, and human has a knowledge that Mary and Sue can be mothers also. But for a machine, that sort of world knowledge is not available. And this tricky entity names, like for example, where is the Bug's Life is playing. So let's say the Bug's Life is a movie, and for a human being, this is easy to understand that this is the name of the movie, but for a machine it's may not be able to understand the it's even if it understood that it's a name of the movie, where exactly the name of the movie starts, etc., may not be able to understand. So entity names also, it's tricky in the case of natural language understanding. So these are the some of the difficulties in understanding the natural language. There can be ambiguities, and there can be this sort of difficulties also. So the task is difficult, and what sort of tools we'll use? The tools we used are the knowledge about the language, the knowledge about the world, and a way to combine different knowledge sources. So this is how we do it. And how we generally do is we'll use probabilistic models built from language data. Rough text features can often do half the job. So we do natural language processing by getting the knowledge about the particular language, and by getting the knowledge about the world, and by combining the knowledges. And we usually use probabilistic models for understanding the language, like the probability of this particular sentence, the probability of this word after the first word of second word after the first word, and so on. So these sort of things can be understood or identified. So this is how we do it. So that's about a general introduction towards natural language processing. Natural language processing is nothing but processing of the text written in natural language like English. So what we have seen was it is very easy for a human being to understand or process natural language, but for a machine there is these difficulties. And because of ambiguity and because of these few difficult situations, it's not easy. It's not an easy task for a machine. But that's what the fun behind natural language processing. And this is how we do it. We use probabilistic models built from the language data and some of the text features. We'll see more about the different applications and how probabilistic models are applied, etc. Next, we'll see basic text processing and regular expressions, which is just a first step towards the natural language processing applications. So you know what I mean by regular expression is a formal language for specifying text strings. How can we search for any of the string? We can give that string as it is: wood chunk, wood chunks, wood chunk, wood. If any of these strings I would like to search, it can be capital small w, it can be capital W, it can be woodchuck and woodchucks. So a simple pattern is used as in square brackets W or W. So any one of these will be replaced. So it can be woodchunk or woodchunk, something like that. So this is how we write regular expressions. Yes, and yes. characters as it is means it matches as it is. In square brackets, if you write any values, then that will be matched with any any digit. So for example, regular expression can be written like this also: a to z an uppercase letter, a to z a lowercase letter, 0 to 9 a single digit. So let's see a simple demo on regular expressions. Use this regex pal site. So here we'll write it as this is a test, this is another. So here I can use this statement a to z, and you can see that all the capital letters in this sentence have matched. Then if you say small a to z, all the small letters will be matched. For example, here today is 8th June 2021. Then you would like to, if you would like to match digits here, 0 to 9. Sorry, 0 to 9. Then this digit, see that this digits will be matched. So this is a simple example of regular expressions. So this is how we match any character between capital A to capital Z, small a to small z, and 0 to 9. Negation in distinction, that was by using a not at the or a caret symbol at the beginning of the square bracket. So not a to z. So this is not an uppercase letter. See here I can write it as not a to z, which matches all the small letters. All the capital letters are not matched. So not a to z, or not to small a to z is matching all the capital letters and all the dots and all the numbers, etc. Only the no, small letters will not be matched. Then not S means neither S, capital S or small s. Not E, not. Only the first character symbol will be used for not, which will not match uh, regular expression will not match E or the caret symbol itself. A caret B matches the pattern A caret B. The caret symbol should appear as the first, then only it is used as a negation. The pipe symbol also can be used. Pipe symbol means A or B or C. So it is A or B or C. Here, for example, you write it as 8 or 2. See, only 8 or 2 will be matched. Right. So this is the actual essence of regular expression. Here, a question mark which can be matched with optional previous character. Question mark can be matched with optional single character. 0 or more star means 0 or more previous character, 0 or more number of characters, 1 or more previous characters plus. So for example, BAA plus means it can be BAA, it can be BAAA, and so on. So it is A plus, right? O plus means OH, OOH, OOOH, etc. A dot matches any character. Dot can be used for matching any character. So these are some of the examples. It is for anchors, caret and dollar. Caret represents the beginning of matches with the beginning, and dollar matches the end. This is just an example. Let's write this statement: the cat in the hat. Here I'll write it. The cat in the hat the other one. See, now we would like to find all instances of the word the in the text. How we do it? We write the here. Let's see that the. What all it matches? It matches this other. There is the, there the. So this matches some of, and this is not matched. This is not matched. So it matches some of the required ones and not, and it matches some of the things which are not actually this word the. Now how we converted? It matches, it misses capitalized examples. Some of the capitalized examples are missed. How we do it? We can correct it by capital T, small t. So we change this as small t or capital T. Now it matches the missing capital lettered THE also, capital letter THE, right? But we should avoid these things. There, other, blade, etc. These things should be avoided. How we avoid it? We correct it by using this, so that before this there should not be any character. So here we write it as uh, before, there should not be a character before this. So A to Z, capital A to Z. Okay. So it misses, it avoids this and other, but it matches this. So here we should add that here also. That is, there should not be a character after that also. So it is A to Z, capital A to Z. Okay. Now you see that it matches only 1, 2, and 3. It is not matching this. So we should add that also. There should not be. It can be it is starting from the first. Starting from the first also. So it matches. Then it matches this also. So the start symbol, you should add that, or it can be. It should not be this, or it should be a start. So like this, you say, then it will match. Okay. So the process G we just went through was based on fixing two kinds of errors. One is called false positive error. False positive means matching strings that should not have matched their other, etc. Not matching the strings that should have matched, that is capital THE. So first we have fixed the capital THE, and then we have fixed the their, other, etc. So the first one is false negative and the second one is false positive. So this was false negative, that is positive things are matched as negative. Here negative things are matched as positive. So it is false positive and false negative. So these are the different two types of errors that usually comes in natural language processing: false negative and false positive. You minimize the false positive means you will be increasing the accuracy or precision. You minimize the false negative, you will be increasing the coverage or recall. So we'll see how we can increase the accuracy, precision, etc., and sorry, coverage, recall, etc., by minimizing false positive and false negatives while discussing the different applications. So this is the summary of today's lecture. Large amount of data is available on web and social media, so that it has led to the development of different NLP tools and applications. Ambiguity is the main difficulty in NLP. That's what it is making the machine to machine NLP is a difficult task. We generally tackle this problem by using probabilistic models. built from the language data. Regular expressions play a large role in NLP as it is considered as the first model. And for many hard tasks, we use machine learning, but regular expressions are used as a features in classifiers. So regular expressions are used as a features in in the classifiers of machine learning. So that's about an introduction to natural language processing. Thank you.